Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Nehal, and welcome to the new episode of Draw with Me to Learn with Me, where you and I draw some simple diagrams in pathology and medicine, busting some of the complicated topics into simple and beautiful ones. So let's get started. The topic for today's discussion is necrosis. Grab your stationery and let's get started. So, necrosis is a form of cell death which is seen in various diseases, the basis of which we'll be studying today. So, to begin with, the definition of necrosis. Necrosis is a localized area of death. Remember, it's not a particular cell, but it is an area which includes many cells, which is followed by degradation of the tissue, which is done by the inflammatory reaction. So let's highlight the important points. It is an area which is localized, and there is degradation of the tissue which is done by the inflammatory cells. The general features. Now in necrosis, there is lysosomal degradation of the cell. Now whenever there is any digestion which is happening in the cell, it is done by the lysosomal enzymes, right? So these lysosomal enzymes are present in the lysosomes of the cell which is going to die or which is going to get necrosed. So here I'm drawing the cell which will denote necrosis, and these are the lysosomes. This is an inflammatory cell. I'm showing it as neutrophil, which also has lysosomes. So by lysosomal degradation we mean the lysosomes containing enzymes which will cause the degradation of the cell. Now let's see what a necrosed cell looks like. We'll divide the features as cytoplasmic and nuclear features. The first coming up to cytoplasmic features. The first feature is that the cell becomes eosinophilic. Now, the cytoplasm stains pink, and this pink is denoted by the eosin stain which we use. So when it is appearing pink, we usually refer it to as eosinophilic. So this is the cytoplasm. It appears much more pinker than a normal cell. Therefore, we call it eosinophilic. Now, why does this happen? It is because of denaturation of proteins. And it is also because of the loss of the RNA content. The RNA imparts a slightish bluish color to the cytoplasm. So loss of RNA will make it look more pink. The second is the glassy appearance of the cytoplasm, or more homogeneous. Now this is because of the loss of glycogen, because glycogen makes the cytoplasm a little opaque. So when there is loss of glycogen, it looks a bit transparent. The third is there is vacuole formation. So these vacuoles, they accumulate in the cytoplasm. It is because of hydrolytic enzymes, and it often gives the cell a moth-eaten appearance. It is mainly because of the digestion of various cell organelles. Next in the list is myelin figures. Myelin figures are formed from the cell membrane, which is made up of phospholipid. So this is the cell membrane, and they appear as whorled structures. So myelin figures are phospholipid membrane which remains after the death of the cell, and they have a whorled appearance. So with this we complete the cytoplasmic features. Next, moving on to the nuclear features. The first one is karyolysis. Now if we break the word and divide it as karyo and lysis, karyo means a seed in Greek and lysis meaning separation. So in karyolysis, the nuclear content separates, that is, the DNA breaks down. There is chromatin dissolution, and this will decrease the basophilic nature of the nucleus. So as the cytoplasm is eosinophilic, the nucleus is basophilic, meaning purple in color. So here I have shown the breakdown of the nuclear contents. This is karyolysis. The second is pycnosis. What happens in pycnosis is that the nucleus shrinks in size. So the nuclear content becomes tight enough, imparting it a very dark colored basophilic stain. Now remember, these are coming one after the other, although I have shown it in the same nucleus, but these features, they happen one after the other. So here the nucleus is shrinking, and because of the tight chromatin condensation, it will look dark, and this is called as pycnosis. After pycnosis, we have karyorhexis. So if we break down the word, so karyo means a seed and rhexis means to burst. So at this stage, the nuclear membrane, it bursts open, creating fragments of the nucleus. So we see fragmentation of the nucleus in karyorhexis. So these are the nuclear features: karyolysis, pycnosis, and karyorhexis. Now we move on to the types of necrosis. First in the list is coagulative necrosis. Here I am drawing a tubule with cells which are normally placed having intact cell membrane. Here I am drawing a necrosed tubule. So the cells have the nuclear membranes broken. However, you can still identify that it is a tubule. And this feature is called as preservation of architecture, which is the characteristic feature of coagulative necrosis. So in coagulative necrosis, the architecture is preserved. So that is, the normal cells get converted into the tombstones. It is also referred to as ghost outlines. So these are all features of coagulative necrosis. Coagulative necrosis usually results due to localized area of loss of blood supply, which is called as infarction. Next we have is liquefactive necrosis. Liquefactive necrosis is also known as collicutive necrosis. So the other name for liquefactive necrosis is collicutive necrosis. As the name suggests, in liquefactive necrosis, the tissue is transformed into a liquid-like material. This is because of the action of hydrolytic enzymes. The example of liquefactive necrosis is brain infarction and abscess cavity due to infection. Next is caseous necrosis. So caseous means cheese-like, and here we refer to cheese as pus. So in caseous necrosis, it is a combination of coagulative necrosis and liquefactive necrosis. The example of caseous necrosis is tuberculosis, which is a granulomatous inflammation. Microscopically, the cells undergo total fragmentation. Even the tissue architecture cannot be made out, as in case of coagulative necrosis. The next is fat necrosis. So in fat necrosis, there is destruction of the fat. Example of fat necrosis is acute pancreatitis. So in acute pancreatitis, there is release of pancreatic enzymes. These enzymes, they attack the fat cell, and this is the fat cell. After the action of pancreatic enzymes, there is release of triglycerides. These triglycerides undergo saponification, and there is calcium deposition which is seen. Next we have is fibrinoid necrosis. In fibrinoid necrosis, as the name suggests, there is deposition of fibrin. We can use a special stain to stain fibrin, and that is known as phosphotungstic acid stain. It is a special stain for staining fibrin. The example of fibrinoid necrosis is, it is seen in blood vessels in autoimmune disorders. So on H&E, how does fibrin appear? If we take a cross section of the blood vessel, this is the blood vessel with the endothelial cells, the fibrin appears as intensely eosinophilic, that is pink. And to complete the list, we have the gangrenous necrosis. There is a debate whether it should be included in necrosis or a separate entity. However, I have included it here. So in gangrenous necrosis, there is loss of blood supply leading to ischemia. Example of gangrenous necrosis is Berger's disease and Raynaud's disease. When this infarction is superadded with infection, we refer it to as wet gangrene. So infarction plus infection is wet gangrene. And the example of this wet gangrene is diabetic foot or bed sores. With this, we complete the types of necrosis. So do not forget to revise it and stick these notes on a wall where you can see it frequently. And do not forget to subscribe, share it with your friends, and you can follow me on other social media as well. Thank you for watching.